Howdy, this is Richard Massey, and for all you Camtasia users who are essentially narrating slideshow presentations, I wanted to show you some options that you could use. Instead of Camtasia, what you can do is you can essentially do the same sort of process and production using PowerPoint. As you can see, I am using just a simple analog headphone with a microphone. You'll get the same production quality either whether you're using analog or USB, or you're using an analog with a USB adapter. For this demonstration, I'm using a standard PowerPoint presentation I got from Pete'sPowerPoint.com, a product of the fine people at Athens State University. I'm using a Mac laptop with a Mac's 2010, 2012, whatever the latest version of PowerPoint is. I want to point out one slight interface change you may notice between Mac and PC. Not only the blue motif, but you'll start your narration at the tab called Slideshow, and your action button may be called Record Narration or something synonymous with that. In the new PowerPoint version for Mac, I go to the Slideshow tab, and the action button is called Record Slideshow. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to hit Record Slideshow, and we go into this mode. We leave the view mode where we can edit the slides, and we go into this recording mode. And first, you notice it has a preview of the slide we're recording to, and a preview of what the next slide will be. We also have these counters, one indicating how long we've been recording per the slide, and how long we've been recording this presentation. Just like in Camtasia, you can pause it if you need to clear your throat or organize your notes, and then resume the recording. But this is where it gets cool. If I press the left click button on my mouse or the right arrow to advance to the next slide, I continue my narration. But if you have any animation for all the layers and elements in your presentation, you are essentially reprogramming your presentation to this new timing live. So what that means is each time I click to advance the slide forward or any of the elements, the timing for each slide and its elements are now reprogrammed to the time between clicks. Now what does that mean? Well, simply, all of my slide element animations and all of my slide transitions are now programmed to match and coordinate my animation, or rather my narration. I think that's pretty cool. One bit of warning before we move on. What PowerPoint is essentially doing is it is recording audio recordings for each slide. What does that mean? Well, what will happen is when you advance between slides, PowerPoint will stop just for a moment, and then once the new slide has been loaded, it will start recording again. So if you are speaking in between slides, there may be a slight moment where the audio is stopped, and we will not be able to hear that moment until it begins again. So my recommendation is, while you're doing your live narration, is to stop recording between slides, advance to the next slide, and then begin speaking again, so there will be no breaks. So now that I've given you this demonstration, let's go to Exit Show right up here at the top. It's going to ask you, are you sure? I'm going to say yes. It's also going to tell you that we just recorded 2 minutes and 8 seconds worth of audio, and then it goes back to PowerPoint. Now you'll notice it changed view modes. The view mode you're used to seeing is normal. I like to call it editing mode. It's the opposite of presentation mode. So let's go back to the slide sorter mode. And let's take a look at a few details here. Let's look at slide number 4. We see it labeled number 4 here. We see a small thumbnail of the graphics that are representing it. But we notice here the animation icon, which indicates that the elements and layers we've added animation to. And we also notice a transition icon, which indicates that there's going to be some sort of transition animation between slides. We also notice 2 other icons here. The speaker icon, which indicates that we've added some sort of audio narration to the slide, and also its duration here. Duration for slide number 4 here is 10 seconds. And slide number 4 is a pretty good place to start. Let's select it, double click it, and then back at normal mode, or the edit mode as I like to call it, we see the speaker icon indicating the audio we've added, both in the thumbnail and in the edit pane. If I click on it, as you can see, it represents any element on the screen. I can select it, move it, adjust it, edit it. I can preview it, adjust its volume. Heck, if I don't like it, I can select it and delete it, which makes PowerPoint very useful for this type of procedure, because then you now have a presentation that is completely editable, non-linear, and completely subject to your whim. So what does that mean? Well, let's just say in the future 3 times 2 no longer equals 6. So we need to edit the slide to reflect that. I'm going to copy this, paste it, put it over here, select them all, add an animation, have it dissolve in, reorder. So there we are, boom. Okay, so that's correct. And now, since I've deleted the narration, I need to replace that narration. So I go back to the slideshow tab, and what the difference between what we did before and what we do now is, when we recorded the narration earlier, I had the first slide selected, and that's where the narration recording began. This time we had the number 4, the 4th slide selected, and so that's where the narration recording is going to begin. So I hit record slideshow, it begins recording, and I say, now that we are in the grand year of 2245, the Emperor has determined that 3 times 2 equals 7. And I'm going to hit exit slideshow. I'm going to say yes. And now we go back to slide sorter mode, and we see that slide 4 now has 13 seconds worth of narration to it. And we've now successfully adjusted what that slide said. Well, that's all fine and good. Now I have a narrated PowerPoint slide, but what I want is a video to upload to Vimeo or YouTube or to Blackboard or to Canvas. Well, good news. PowerPoint can also export to a movie. So it'll take all of your slides, all of your transitions, all of your pictures, audio, video, and just combine it into one video file. Let's take a look at how that's done. If you are working with an older version of PowerPoint, you will find that under Save As, and the movie format will be here in the drop-down menu. Here it is, Movie, M-O-V. It's exactly the same as going over to Save As Movie. I want to aim it at my desktop, and let's go to Movie Options. 640 by 480, that's kind of small. I want it high resolution or high definition, so I'm going to go with the current size, which is I set this recording to be the entire area of my screen. So what else? No, yeah, follow that, none. Okay, I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit Save. As you can see, it's rendering it out. My Macintosh is new and it's going to be pretty quick. What that means is the render time is going to be pretty quick. If you have a longer presentation with more slides, lots of animation, lots of elements, lots of audio and video, you may produce a file that's larger and will take longer to export. So with a little practice, you can anticipate what your time needs are and set your presentation to export. Walk away, you'll come back with a file here. Oh, one last thing. Where are you? If you are working, since I am working with a Macintosh laptop, my movie export options are limited to an MOV file. If you are working with a PC, the standard export settings or format for a movie is a WMV. So keep that in mind when exporting, when you're considering the consumption needs of your students, whether or not they require Flip for Mac for their Macintosh computer, their Apple computer, to play a WMV file. Of course, if you upload it to Vimeo or YouTube, it converts it, and then it handles the playback function. So let's take a look at what we just made. Here is our file, the video we exported from PowerPoint. I'm going to double click on it. It's going to open up in QuickTime, and it's going to play. It is playing now. Oh, not yet. It doesn't automatically play. And there it is. Animation there. Audio and video. There it goes. Yeah, the transitions, the animation, the layers, it's all there. So, feel free to contact me, and I can give you a private tutorial in this operation, and we can meet and troubleshoot any issues you have. So happy hunting with PowerPoint, and good luck.